entrepreneur named Matt Chianchi, who started his own clothing brand named Journey Co. Some important concepts we learned through the interview were how customers need to be top priority, interacting with them on social media platforms daily, as well as posting several times a day. Another thing we learned was one problem he faced was he scaled too fast. He bought too much of the same product and only sold 25% of that product, so he had a lot of remaining items left over. Something I was impressed by, or we were impressed by during the interview, was how Matt was able to find brand ambassadors to help promote his product. He was only selling his product to these brand ambassadors for 75% of market value, and as I guess I was impressed by this, as I would expect to be given free clothing or products if I were to promote for someone. In terms of future career aspirations, Matt did not have any business background prior to starting his clothing company, other than a few business accounting and economics courses in high school. And so this can relate to anyone starting a business in the future, is that you don't necessarily need to have any business knowledge, just an idea that customers will want.
Next, we were thoroughly surprised by what we learned through the interview with the entrepreneur because it related a lot to what we learned in class. We also gained a lot of insight through asking him questions. When asked if he was happy or if he would change anything, he answered saying he was and he wasn't. He believes it was a really good learning experience and gave him a first look at what it takes to be an entrepreneur. He said he learned from his mistakes and now knows for the future not to scale too quickly, because he realized he lost a lot of money instead of gaining it, and it takes a lot more work to succeed than he expected. I also thought it was very interesting to learn about the marketing approach. This included using social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook to reach out to Matt's friends, family about his clothing company. He would first market the brand online without actually having the prototype to see if people would be interested in the idea or buying his product. This is another mistake made by Guy Kawasaki. He focused on pitching instead of prototyping, which then made him purchase so much inventory later on to make up for not having any in the beginning when people were asking for the clothing item. The background research we performed was through the internet, including LinkedIn page, social media accounts for the company, and websites where his products were sold to get an insight on his life and his company.
The reason that we had this list of questions, first we want to see his background and any entrepreneurship that he actually knew into the area before he got into it, why he decided to do this business, what drew him towards this direction, what drove him, his first that I can do this kind of moment. Then we wanted to see how it got tough for him, what problems, what was the biggest mistake that he wished he could have avoided. Further going down, we then looked at how he was growing his business, what his approach to marketing was to build his brand. And then the last few questions we looked like as if he to see if he was happy, if he would change anything, what the overall a key point or important part that he found throughout the whole journey. The 5 infatuation principles, so the first one, the bird in hand, is start with your means. He stated that he started with what he had around him. He had a slight vision, he didn't have a full view, but he had a vision, and he grew through his creativity and his means and developed into the brand he has. Affordable losses, the future can't be predicted. He admits that he slightly mismanaged this area as he believes he scaled too fast, resulting in a position where he was behind the break-even point as he ordered too many of each product, causing an overstock. He said that in his new ventures he this would be the first thing he worried about. Next, crazy quote, form partnerships. He believed with his clothing brand, it was a good company for collaboration. Eventually, to grow his company, he eventually did a line together with the sunglass brand. Lemonade principle, leveraging contingencies. So the main point he spoke about here was he was selling his products and they were going, but at one point people started wanting new colors, new designs, and that was a surprise to him that he had to adapt to keep that customer basis. Lastly, pilot in the point, he talked about saying that the world and the marketplace is always changing, and entrepreneurs aren't always visionaries. They just have to let the market change and be creative and adapt to it.